Hey there, family. So, first of all, I'm just so excited to be on here. As you can see, I am the millennial mom, Pam Price. As you can see, the Y2K, though, that Y2K of mine, she's running late. How about that? Because usually I'm the one that is always running behind, but it's her tonight. But didn't want to delay this, wanted to go ahead and hop in while we wait for her to join us. And I just want to kind of preface and just start this by one just saying I'm really, really grateful. This is something that the two of us have talked about for quite a while, and just never really took it, or brought it to fruition. So it's really, really, exciting that we had a chance to kind of get everything together, think about what we, wanted to do. We worked and created our logo over her winter and spring breaks, and just really, kind of got our heads together. This, you So, a little bit of a technical difficulty right there, so apologies for that. And look at that. Why don't you? The Y2K has arrived.
Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry. There is a little bit
Oh,
of
geez.
technical difficulties.
You don't say.
There's a lot going on, a lot going on. Lots to talk about though. Lots to get into. Um, but my bad, yo. Sorry.
You don't say.
Let me go ahead and change my name right quick to be hold on.
Yes.
All done now. Look at that. Perfect.
Z- Well, yay. Look at there. Look at God. Look at God.
Mm-hmm. Period.
So, again, this is really exciting, right?
Yes. Wait, are like people here? I can't tell. People watching?
I don't know. We're gonna record it. We're gonna put it up on Apple, and we're gonna put it up on Spotify. I'll see because it
Mm-hmm.
is broadcasted over to our YouTube. So
Mm-hmm.
it will be there. So hopefully we'll get a few people on, and then we'll be able to take the recording and share it. As this is kind of our first
Mm-hmm.
one. Like how long have we been talking about doing this?
We have been talking about doing this podcast since low key before COVID, but we're both just such bad procrastinators, as y'all can see from the way I came into this call. But we've been talking about this for almost 4 years now of just us having our little mini conversations every day and being like, this would be kind of fun to talk about to other people. or with other people. So it's been a long time coming, y'all. Please forgive us for the hold up. I've been telling my friends and my people, oh, me and mama started a podcast. I've been telling them for years and years and years, and I know they just stopped believing me at one point, but it's finally here. It's finally happening. It's real. It's true. So I'm just really excited.
This is true. And it really was probably what your winter break when we really sat down, started going through like what we wanted the logo to look like, what we even wanted to call it. I think it took us that
Yes,
long to get all that together.
we actually kind of
So,
did it quick, especially considering how long it took us to actually like make it happen. But yeah, winter break was like kind of essential for us to getting the title and then the image and all that stuff set up. So it's finally happening.
well,
Like,
we did it.
show
We
us.
have arrived. So technically our first episode is underway. And like I said, I'm just so excited. One, because I love talking to you. You know, you're a cool kid.
Oh, thanks. Shucks, what can I say? I get it from my mama. Her.
Mm, little bit, little bit, little bit.
A little quick
So
flex. Nothing wrong with that.
no, no, not at all, not at all. You know that we part of that Cheryl Jean tribe. So yeah, no, it's nothing wrong with that. And shout out to my mom because I know she is just smiling and grinning, and she is definitely here with us. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
if she was here physically, trust me, she would be on camera herself. Um, so why did you want to do this with your mom? Like,
So basically, it was like I feel like our conversations, especially for like the past couple years, have just been so like wide ranging, but also so funny and so like real that in having them with you, I was like, I feel like this would be a great opportunity to kind of share our relationship a little bit, or at least like the boundaries of our relationship and the things that we kind of make more normal with other people, because I think it's important, especially with mother-daughter relationships, to have this kind of open pathway of communication to where it's like we can just basically talk about everything, and it's never been weird or strange. And I mean, it's come with like a lot of work, it's come with a lot of honesty, it's come with a lot of letting go of like your pride about certain things. But all in all, it's just made, I think, our relationship overall stronger, and that's something that I think is really cool. So sharing that with everybody is fun.
I agree. Like for folks who, don't know us or like aren't familiar with the two of us, and we'll both tell you a little bit about ourselves um here in a little bit, but what you brought up about just, the mother-daughter aspect of it, and I think us being able to have a open dialogue, authentic conversations. And I would get asked that like as a mom, you know, how are you and Kiana so close? Kiana seems like, she talks to you about everything. And, how do you, navigate, her, I remember when you were first becoming a teenager and it was like, oh my God, what are you going to do? She's 13 now. And how to, so it's been like this journey that I think, yeah, we both have been on, and it's been a really, really cool journey that I think, yeah, we've learned a lot about each other and learned a lot about ourselves. And, I think this platform gives us a way to be able to share that, share with other people, maybe share it again with other moms, share with other, um, Y2Ks who maybe don't have similar relationships but would like to have, so how do you even kind of begin to bridge those conversations, generationally? So yeah, so I could not agree with you more. So I obviously know who you are, beautiful Y2K. Um, why don't you share just, who's Kiana? Who's this Y2K of mine?
So I am Kiana. I'm the Y2K, obviously. I was actually born in 2002, so don't take that Y2K a little too literal, like, add plus two, it's whatever. But I am currently a student at Virginia Tech studying psychology with a minor in Spanish. Um, And really, I don't know, the best way I would describe myself is kind of just chill. Like I kind of just be here. I go to class and I come back. I'm very down to earth, very like not too keen on people. I get it from my father. She can attest to that. But I'm not the most sociable person, but I really do enjoy kind of having deeper conversations with people and just getting to know them on a level that like most people wouldn't. I like making people comfortable enough to kind of speak their true thoughts and feelings. And at the end of the day, like who Kiana is really is just a byproduct of this lovely woman right here who has poured into me heavily, um, and supported me heavily through all of my ups and downs and challenges. As someone who deals with mental health issues, um, and someone who is just ready to kind of start this new and continue this new chapter of my life of college and you know social aspects of college and working and all those things. So I kind of encompass all those things. I like to wear a couple different hats at a time, but yeah,
All that good adulting you're out there doing.
I'm trying. It's not the easiest. I
So
don't know,
proud of
adulting
that.
is overrated a little bit, but that's all right.
It's very overrated, but I mean, you just getting started. So, is what
Don't remind
mommy
me.
can tell you is to buckle up for the adulting um, journey.
Hmm.
Um, well, that was very beautiful.
Oh, thanks.
Um, who is your mother? Uh,
See a lot of
that
different things.
sometimes is a
I can give
mixed
you
bag.
my
Yeah, like that's very interesting, and it would be interesting to see. You
what I
know,
would say.
I like to, yes. So I'll start, and then you can fill in,
Okay.
or whether you say whether you agree.
Hmm.
Um, I like to explain to people who I don't know is that like there's a lot of girls, right? I have a lot of girls that come together to shape who I am. There is, the little girl in me who, I often tell you, like, I don't know if she would like you because she has issues, right? There's, there's the part of me that, loves the work that I do in terms of, public health and helping people and being able to give back and thinking about how to build and create legacies beyond the things that happen in the four walls of our home. Those are the things that I'm really really passionate about. But there's a girl in me that apparently has a mean streak that I'm finding out. There is a girl in me who likes her ratchet, from time to time. There's a girl in me who apparently is quite bougie, I have been told, and would have to agree with. And so I like to think that again, there are just many facets. I think of all of us as just human beings, and I think what makes it interesting is how we lean into those, how we accept those, and then how those
Mhm.
who would say, maybe that's a part of myself that I don't really, like, or that is not beneficial to me, or it's not helpful to me. It could be harmful to myself or harmful to the people that I love. And then you say, okay, well, that's something I got to work on. But I think the totality of who I am, is first and foremost just a Black woman.
Mhm.
Um, I think before I put on the labels of being a mom or being a wife, or being a boss or being, an entrepreneur or businesswoman, I'm a Black woman, every day, all day, wouldn't want to be another, something else. I love
Period.
a Black woman. Um, and then you layer on all those other facets of motherhood, which I know we're going to have some episodes where we'll delve into my thoughts
Deep.
on motherhood.
Deep.
So make sure that you stay tuned. Make sure that when we put this up on Apple and Spotify, that you subscribe, because I know that's going to be an interesting conversation, because I tend to think my look and approach to motherhood may be a little different than the societal norms. I'll leave it at that.
A
So,
little hint, a little taste
would you
tester.
say that suffices? Would
Yes,
you say
that was
that
all.
suffices who your mother
Yes, that was all
Yeah,
very
and
encompassing.
love wine, love a good drink. Matter of fact, this is one of the glasses you got mommy for Mother's Day a few years back.
Ooh,
So thank you and cheers.
of
Yay,
course, of
yay,
course.
yay.
Yeah, I would say you touched on basically everything, even the the bougie and the kind of mean sometimes. But
So
yes,
we want to make this show not be pigeonholed to specific topics, right? Like we're not gonna come in here and just talk about fashion because fashion is actually not something I'm that interested in, to be quite honest. Um, Now the Y2K, yes, she is very much. Um, but I think sometimes people think that like, oh, it's two women, two females, and we're gonna talk about fashion or we're gonna talk about, solely lifestyle types of things. So let everybody know, because I know we're gonna go well beyond those things, but what are the things that you're most excited about us being able to talk to and delve into with the podcast?
I would say probably the thing that I'm most excited about is whenever we get around to talking about self-love, especially as, Black women, and my journey, and of course your journey as well, going from Black girls to Black women, and that transition in regards to self-love. Because I think that whenever we have talked about it previously, it's always been very, I'm not going to say nuanced, but it's just like there are certain things that I think we both understand in regards to self-love that I'm just so excited to delve into and to share. So self-love and things in related to that nature, I'm most excited to talk about. But I love talking to you about anything and everything. So basically, everything that we gonna talk about here, I'm ready. I'm excited. I hope y'all are ready and excited because yes, it's gonna be basically everything under the sun. We can talk about lots of important things, real deep things, and we can also talk about basically nothing. So y'all are gonna get a little bit of everything. But yeah, definitely self-love. It will be the biggest.
And I'm glad that you said that because I think that is one of the things in life that a lot of people are constantly in search of, right? And then it changes experience losses and we go through love, how we are looking at giving it to ourselves first. Because I know that's something that you and I have talked about, before, is that self-love is called that for a reason, and without it, it really creates, um, holes and challenges in every relationship that we have, because we're looking for that to be fulfilled externally, right? But it's called self-love. So you can't find self-love outside
Anywhere
of
else, yeah.
exactly. So, um, but yeah, like and I tell people all the time, like, and I don't know if it was because I spent, several years as just a single mom when it was just me and before, we met dad and dad came into our lives, which, we're both so blessed and fortunate, to have him, and all the things we've learned and he's challenged us both with, to be better
That's an
in.
episode, another episode.
Yeah, a whole 'nother one, right? Um, but I don't know if it was that or what, but like, yeah, I've always, you know, sought to give to you like I would give to, any and everything that I had. Even at a young age, thinking about what were those conversations, that I thought were going to be important. And so, yeah, there's really, with this, podcast, there's nothing that is off limits, just like FYI, so you guys know, so from self-love to relationships to, stuff that's happening in the culture, that I may agree on. We may agree on it, but then we did agree on it in a different way that it seems like we don't agree on it. One of those where we both saying the same thing, we just saying it differently.
Yes, happens all the time.
Which happens a lot. But then also sports. We both love sports. So we'll have an opportunity to talk about, a little bit of sports and what's happening with that and getting our female perspective, on what's happening in the world of sports and really just thinking about how everything is so interconnected, which is why I think you can't really say, we only want to talk about X, Y, Z, because everything is connected. Whether we're talking about it because we want a good kiki, and a good laugh, but it's all, connected. Like even the bad things, even the trauma and like, oh God, like poor Florida. Like,
Yes.
did you guys see the passage of that bill?
Mm-hmm. We were
Like,
just talking about it, me and my sweet mates. We were just talking about how just they're relating something that has nothing to do with one thing to another thing. And it's just like,
and it's crazy as to just thinking about like how we got here. And then, yeah, you think like, okay, you have some people like, okay, well, that's Florida. That's a blueprint for any other state who decides, hey, you basically attack, Black and brown people. And we
and like
want,
some of the things that's like all we have. Like in one of the instances, I think the bill, it wasn't directly attacking D9 organizations, but it kind of had something like similar where there was a possibility for them to have, a little uncertainty just in their existence. And it's like there are spaces that Black people have created for ourselves to represent ourselves that were not given to us. We had to make them, we had to shape them and form them ourselves. And it's like to think about those being stripped away by people who have everything and have historically had everything. It's just,
right, that part. Like the people who have not had our struggles and who have not had to fight for the things that we're fighting for are now trying to say, well, you shouldn't have those things because they're excluding us who
right,
already have the entire university is for you.
right,
We've carved out one group, one association, or again, just thinking about historically what D9s have meant to the African American community, right?
right.
And yes, while they're going to paint it initially to say, well, we didn't list them specifically, and
Hmm.
this bill won't hurt them. But the problem is that because it is so broad and it is going to pass the Senate in Florida and become law, is that it puts so much discretion on these universities. And so
Hmm.
I immediately think too, especially in Florida, there are major um, schools for football and athletics, right?
Yeah,
And thinking about who are those players, right? They're
right,
predominantly our kids.
right,
You know, where are these schools? Matter of fact, where are the businesses? So if Florida is saying we don't want diversity, equity, and inclusion of any kind, or we want it the way we say we want it, which is really not diversity, equity, and inclusion, then, fine, have it that way. But you shouldn't get NIH funding. You shouldn't, as a state, you shouldn't be allowed to pursue federal grant funding.
right,
Then that's, written into a lot of the federal, funding opportunities is that there's this equity. So that means you don't want that money no more. Corporations need to say, hey, look, that's fine. You don't want diversity, equity, inclusion. We're going to move our businesses. I mean, at the end of the day, politicians like DeSantis, like Abbott in Texas, because Texas is next,
yes,
um, Low
As
key
per
here,
usual.
you know, here in Virginia, Youngkin's gonna be a little bit more low key about it. He ain't gonna be as bold, perhaps, as Abbott or DeSantis, but he wants that very much for Virginia as well.
Yep.
Um, and so we've got to start being more proactive in how do we counter that, and how do we, you know, fight it in a way that's going to be impactful to them, because they don't care about, what our kids are learning or not learning. They never have. The education system wasn't built for our kids to begin
Right.
with, let alone educating us on our history. So yeah, that was just crazy seeing that today.
Mm-hmm.
And just, thinking about the far-reaching, implications of what that's going to potentially mean, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then there's also, because it came up earlier last week, um, folks going into Mexico trying to get these BDLs. What is what?
That's like a very unserious turnaround, but yes.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, it's just like there's so much going on, like every day,
I think
if
that's
you
like the way of the world now, though. Is like it's because we have a lot more access to current events than ever before. So you're hearing about news that's happening halfway across the country or halfway across the world, even, and you're like, oh my God, this is crazy. But it really does just put into perspective how like everybody in every situation across the whole world is going through something because there's always something happening. It's like globally.
right, yeah, and it's you know because like you and I, one thing that like we talk about too is like how do we make ourselves like aware, right? Because it's easy to like to just to bury your head under the sand or only think about the things in your privy, um,
Absolutely.
because how we get fed our news is also an issue. They primary big news, big media is all going to feed the same stories, you
Yeah.
know um so it's like if you're not diligent on making sure that you are aware of like, hey, this, did you hear about this that happened, did you hear about this, another shootings happen so frequently now that they're barely making the ticker tape now,
Yep.
you know and so like I know you, and you've got a really good friend circle, but like
Love y'all. When y'all hear this, when y'all listen to this, love y'all down.
Hannah, Cass, Alexis, Boo, love all of you ladies, Janelle, the whole squad. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you guys are just some awesome, awesome, awesome dynamite young women. Um, but like how do you guys, because like sometimes I stay in the know on certain things because of the work I do. But like, you guys are in school, you're trying to, stay up with your classes and stuff like that. So like, how do you guys go about making sure that you feel like I'm pretty informed, right? With everything that's happening.
I mean, it really does come down to like effort because there are definitely some people, college age students, who are like, I'm focused on getting this degree. I don't really care about what's going on around me. That's that. And I think it just comes down to the type of people we are. Like all of my friends, fortunately, and myself included, are just, good people. And we're like, we want to be informed about the things happening around us, locally and internationally, just because it does have an effect on us, whether we are aware of it or not. Like it's easy to be like, oh, well, that's happening to someone else, so that's got nothing to do with me. But at the end of the day, what's happening to someone else could easily be your struggle in just an instant. So it's like just being aware that, just because someone's struggle is not your struggle doesn't mean that it's okay to just disregard it and to be like, all right, well, they're struggling over there, but that's not me. Like I think it's just being overall just an empathetic type of person. And then
Mhm.
we understand that like the way that the world is changing so quickly. Like with, this is completely random by the way, but like
Yeah,
AI has been really scary, like really, really scary. So it's like
right.
we're trying our best to stay up to date on everything because the world could change just like that, and it does every single day. Ooh.
I have to mute that phone. My bad.
Your ringer is like on 10 billion. Oh my God. I jumped. Anyway. No.
My bad.
Anyway.
That's what, when you get my age, like, you got to make sure you hearing
Your
something,
ears are
right?
not that bad.
So
They are not that bad.
now my eyesight is way worse.
That's what I'm saying. Like that ringer, that's an accessibility type of. You don't need to be that loud.
My eyesight is way, way, way worse. If I was trying to read something on the screen, I would actually probably need to be grabbing my glasses, but
It happens to the best of us.
Don't it. But I
Yeah.
will not be going across, the border to Mexico trying to get LASIK.
I mean, my thing is that, like, in those instances, that's all some people have, which is crazy. Like, you think, oh, it's crazy to go to Mexico across the border to get a BBL. But I mean, there's a lot of different factors that involve that. Nowadays, it's like BBLs are, of course, like the pop cultural thing to do. And it's like, oh, everyone's getting BBLs. Let me just go get one. And when you don't have the money for it here, it's like, okay, well, I need to get one because that's what society is deeming that's acceptable. So let me go to Mexico. Which is unfortunate, but
I mean, how did we get here though? Like, I have never had a big ass. I'm never going to have a big ass. My sister do. My mama did. Right? You're not gonna have one either.
Hey, whoa.
You're not. I
Don't
mean,
keep that over me.
Let's just, again.
Don't manifest that for me. We don't know yet.
I have never had one and will never have one at this point.
I mean, don't give yourself some more credit. Oh my goodness.
I'm good with this body.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and I think that that's what it is that, like, there's a lot of people who social media and pop culture and societal norms, and I put that in quotes, that's all they have for their references. That's all they have for what is right and or wrong. So when you're looking on the media and on Twitter and Instagram and you seeing, oh my God, all these people that are getting all these brand deals and concert and all this stuff, they got BBLs. Well, let me go get one.
I mean, I get it. And I see that. And I don't know, I guess I'm constantly thinking like, okay, well, where is how do we course correct? Like, where is the course correct button? Like, is there going to be a generation that will go back to saying, hey, because here's what I also think. There's a little bit of a duality going on, right?
And I mean, yeah, that's what I was just thinking, is that, like, there really is no winning. So I don't think that there will ever become or be a time where everyone is just like, oh, this is normal. Like, everybody's normal, because there's always a problem. When you have the BBL, people are like, oh my God, you got a BBL, you're so fake and you're plastic and this, that, the third. When you don't have a BBL, oh, you're flat, you ain't got no ass, you ain't got no titties, you ain't got nothing go over you, nobody wants you, boom, done. So it's like, there really is no, like, happy medium externally, which is why it's really important to just be like, I like it or I love it, and that's that.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. Like, those, it's like, on the one hand, you hear we shouldn't body shame, right?
Right.
We shouldn't body shame people, that everybody is beautiful in their own way, that all of our bodies as they are naturally made, or whatever, as we have them, as they exist, is beautiful. And we should accept it, and we should encourage and applaud us to love ourselves, right? To love our authentic selves. There's that message. But I'm like, okay, that message does not match with the images, I guess, that, yes, get put out there of waists that are measuring 24, but you got a hip and an ass that is measuring 45. Like, anatomically, that don't add up. Like, and I mean, it's about saying, I want to be have real life Barbie measurements. Like, I remember someone said, if Barbie was a real person, by virtue of how they build that doll, she couldn't exist because those measurements you can't have that in real life. And it's like somehow magically we're trying to run around here and going to, running across a border, running into drug cartels and whatnot, you know, to get augmentation that really is unnatural.
And I mean, again, at the end of the day, that's like just what's popular. Like, that's like, it doesn't really matter that visually and, statistically and atomically, it doesn't make sense. Like, oh, the fact that your thighs are like this big and then you have a huge ass behind you. Like, that's crazy. Like, that's not, that don't make no sense. But, you know,
And it doesn't. And that's
that's
just
just the way
me.
that it is.
It looks abnormal.
It
And it's the
does, but
same
then you have
thing
to
like,
think that there's no, when you're in that position, yes, it may look strange, but that's what's normal. And I use that in quotations. So, what can
eh,
you do?
baby.
Like, there's literally nothing to do because, again, like I said before, there's no happy medium. There's either that you either have that and you have people being like, that don't match, your thighs don't match, we know it's fake, or you have people who are like, oh, you ain't got no ass, you ain't got no titties, boom, done, bye, you know. And then, of course, you
Yeah.
have people who don't care. But unfortunately, just in the society that we're in currently, it's either that or the other, this or that, basically.
Well, that's something again that I know as we continue, and on future episodes, I will have a big shout out to Mr. Ian Robinson. So I think yes, so we are women, but we love the men in our lives. I have a son, a husband, and my Y2K here had an awesome young boyfriend. Uh, and so those perspectives, yeah, we can't have these conversations without them because we don't exist without you. You guys are just as much a part of, our thought processes and as much a part of our growth and our journeys. I wish more people saw it that way, as opposed to it being always in opposition. That the male and female always have to be in opposition to one another, and I think that is not the case. Matter of fact, Kiana, before we hopped on here, I was looking at a really good friend of mine, Stacy J, and she had shared a post, I think where it was Lala. Um, I think she was on one of the radio shows, Big Boy, I think, and was just basically, I think, touting a message that we continue to hear too often, that marriage isn't really worth it, that future generations, a marriage doesn't matter, to them, or marriage shouldn't even matter to them, and I think one, that's a poor and potentially dangerous narrative to put out there, because I think it's almost like what we were just saying. We have put out there these faked, images and portrayals of what marriage is, right?
Yeah.
Um, as opposed to the truth, behind what's required to make a good marriage. Just even the key ingredients, and then knowing that every one's marriage, then you're going to add your own to personalize it and make it your marriage, because that's, at the end of the day, that's really what it is. But it's like, you can't have it both ways. You can't go out here and give the false images and false perceptions of what marriage really is and what's required of it, and then when you fail because it's not genuine, you fail because it's not built on truth, it's not built on love, it's not built on grace and respect and the work that is required. You didn't build it that way. You don't even encourage and or speak about it that way, and it fails. And then now, because it fails, you want to say, well, it's really not worth it. That's not something that is important, or that matters. And I'm like, that is a dangerous road. I think, especially in our communities, if we think about historically how Black families have been eroded,
Yeah.
right? thinking about where we once were as a community, as a culture, and like where we are now.
And I mean,
Um,
to both of those points, like, because I know that a lot of people, and I'm gonna use you specifically as an example, talking about like the way things used to be, and in some of those aspects of the way things used to be, it wasn't any better subjectively than it is now. Because yes, you had the marriages, and yes, people were in them, but were they happy?
well, yes, that part,
Right.
that
So
yeah,
it's like now people are getting to the point where it's like marriage isn't worth it because people are realizing that they'd rather be single than be in a loveless, unhappy marriage. But I
right,
think that at the same time, people have just gotten really lazy as far as the work and time and patience that it takes to be in a relationship, and just a relationship generally, not even a romantic one, in a friendship, a family member relationship. Like, it just takes work. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of patience and understanding, because you're dealing with two people coming into a space and trying to you know form a bond and make things work, which is going to be a challenge in any scenario. But I think, again, like, when people have been so what's the word? People have been so,
conditioned.
yeah, conditioned to think that, oh, marriage is a lot of work and I don't want to deal with it, and I don't want to put in all this extra time. Da, 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 da. It kind of becomes a situation where it's just like, I'd rather not do it at all. I'd rather just be single.
And again, and that's not to say that okay, marriage is for everybody. I think any more than you already know, I don't believe that motherhood is for everybody. Um, I am a fervent believer that just because we have uteruses and because we have wombs and because we are, um, the gender designed and built to carry life, do not subscribe to the belief that that is every woman's purpose,
Right.
that that's every woman's destiny. I just don't. Um, and that's another, again, one of those things that I look forward to us, delving and digging into, more on the podcast, over future episodes, because I remember sharing with an office mate. I think it was Jeffrey, once, because Jeffrey has, he's got all girls, and I think he was
Mhm.
just asking something, and one day, and that's what I told him. I told him that I make sure you understood that, you know, I do not expect and or am putting a requirement on you to have children,
Right.
to give me grandkids, like a lot of people do. When am I gonna get some grandbabies? When am I gonna get some grandbabies? My mom used to ask me the same thing, and I would look at her side. I like, I don't know.
Yeah, and I
That
think that
you got to
it's a good thing to know that we're kind of moving away from societal gender norms for both women and men, to be like, this is what is expected of you, is to grow up, to graduate, get married, and pop out kids. Because I think, again, like you said, that's just not for everybody. That's not what everyone wants to do, nor is it something that everyone's fit to do. So I think, what it really comes down to is being able to have spaces where women and men alike feel like they're not required to do anything that, is deemed quote unquote normal by people.
yeah. And I agree. Like you know, life is all about ebbs and flows. And I think, times change for a reason. There are things that are generational for a reason, and I think that is one of the things is that, um, same thing like, you and I have also, talked about, I think, yeah, there are things that we put labels on that require no label. There are things we make and or stratify or categorize, right? We love to categorize stuff. We
Hmm.
love to put things, people in boxes and say, you belong here, that belongs there. and,
Mhm.
those boxes can't touch, you can't come out that box, and I think what I love about, I think you guys' generation and these younger generations coming up is that you guys, are really adamant about, "I'm not gonna be put in a box of
Right.
any kind,"
And
"I
I
don't wanna put
think
in a
that's
box, a cube, a circle."
right. And I think that honestly what that comes down to is us just realizing after so many years that people, humans are not unilateral at all whatsoever. I mean, you have people who are capable of doing, incredible forms of art and, music and those type of things, but also are can do an equation like that. Like you have people who are just, very versatile and multi-talented. And I think to be like, oh no, like this is where you stand, this is where you stay, is just like something that my generation specifically was like, absolutely not. Because why would I limit myself to this one ideology or this one thing when I could do multiple things and be
Yeah,
good at all of them?
yeah. It's that level or that thinking and that mindset of, you know, limitless, right? Um, like, and I do work with brain health and thinking and understanding like how our brain works and how it develops, right? Um, and I think yes, while we get taught about left brain, right brain, right? But we never really talk about like there are many individuals who can tap into both
Right.
and who can excel at things that are typically geared to be more left brain dominant and more right brain dominant. And I love, you know, being able to explore, things like that. Cause that's one of the things I too, we got a few more minutes here and then we're gonna wrap up this one. And like I said, we're gonna get this out and send, different clips and stuff and hope you guys will be able to join us next Wednesday at 9. Um,
One time this time, I
um
promise.
I'm gonna hold you to that now, y'all. We gonna hear her. She says she will be on time
I promise all
next.
y'all. Pinky promise. Yep.
Now watch me be running late. Um,
It's
so
always one of us, Like I said at the beginning, we're both, bad procrastinators. Like, forgive us.
always, always give us grace, y'all. Give us grace. But one of the things I want people to look forward to is knowing that, we also want to use this as an opportunity to educate and to make us aware, of certain things. And I think one of the areas where, especially us as Black people, need more awareness is just how this body, how this vessel we live in actually works and how it connects to what we do,
Hmm.
what we say, what we think. Like, we're going to get into some conversations around epigenetics. If you do not know what epigenetics is, Google it and be prepared because we will be talking about that on a future episode.
Hmm.
Um, and how those things connect us, right? And then how, if we know those things now, we can look ahead and think about, okay, well, what do we want to do different?
Right.
What do we want to, change? Um, because, it was funny. There was someone that posted a clip of, Denzel Washington. And like he was saying, like we cannot confuse movement with progress because we
Right.
can run in place and go nowhere.
Right.
Right. And I thought that was just so poignant, hearing that clip from him because yeah, we're like, we need movement, movement, movement. No, we need progress. And
Right.
there's a difference, and having knowledge is something that is required for us to have progress. We cannot have progress with no knowledge. All
Yeah.
right. That
Absolutely.
leads us to idiocracy is where that goes to, which is not the progress that hopefully nobody wants.
Hmm.
Um, so I'm excited for that, excited to keep the conversations going to kind of we'll
Yes.
have hopefully some little hot topic moments, or the things that we really are burning that we want to talk about each week. But again,
Hmm.
that's kind of my hope and my goal, and I want you guys to hopefully look forward to. What do you want folks to look forward to?
Um, basically, like, just to piggyback off of what you just said, is that yes, this is absolutely going to be a place for, laughs and fun times and unserious conversations, just because we're both kind of unserious most of the time. But it's not just something that is meant for comedic relief, or um topics about any old thing. Like, I mean, we really want to be able to include a little bit of knowledge that you previously didn't know, like something that it would be nice if you walked away from this every episode and was like, I learned something new that I didn't know previously. Like, that would be great and necessary, because again, like, knowledge with no action and action with no knowledge is essentially pointless. So we want to use this. I want to use this also specifically to myself as a way to educate, inform, you know, maybe share a new perspective that you hadn't thought about previously, and also at the same time have a good time, because that's possible. I think creating spaces where it's okay to laugh while also, having poignant conversations and it is important, because how else do we get anywhere if we can't have conversations that need to be had while still having a good time? I think that's impossible.
Right. Right. Nobody wants to, yeah, I mean, it's easier. Again, like you have people like, okay, broke people still have a good time, right? you know. So
That's
having
a
a
little
good
subjective, maybe not.
I'm just saying, having a good time, having levity, right?
Yes.
Having levity,
Yeah.
having the laugh, having the funny. That's why they say sometimes we laugh to keep from crying,
Mm-hmm.
right? Laughing is equally as therapeutic as crying is.
Mm-hmm.
And so hopefully, yeah, we'll have some episodes that maybe you'll cry a little bit and maybe you'll laugh a little bit and maybe you'll do both. Because knowing me and Kiana, it's an opportunity that we may have a show where we do a little crying and we do a little laughing, and
Yes.
maybe at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to again just thank those of you who popped in on the video stream. We are going to be excited to share this and get this up, get the audio up on Apple Podcasts and Spotify Podcasts. It'll also be on our SoundCloud that we have. So we'll make sure that all the links get up so you can watch it or listen to it again, and you can share it, and you can tell somebody to say, hey, look, y'all got to come check out these two sisters, come check out this mom, come check out this daughter. We want to be and not just be, we want to invite you into what I feel is just our vibe, when you and I get a chance to just talk and connect, because it is truly like one of the greatest blessings in my life that I think that I can have this kind of dialogue with you, and you're
Oh,
my daughter,
that's so
right?
sweet.
Like I think that's well, I mean, just saying, like I think that that's a blessing.
Thanks, Mom.
Um, you're welcome. No, thank you. So, so that's a wrap on our very, very, very first, episode. Yay!
4 years and running, but we did it. We did it.
Better late than never. We did it. We
So,
did it. We are here. That's what we titled this first episode, is that we're here.
mm-hmm.
And we do not plan on going anywhere. And again, we hope to just come to you each week, as Kiana said, with hopefully giving you something that you can take away that you didn't know, make you maybe rethink something. I know Kiana is really good about, you know, doing that for me, making me see things maybe differently. And so hopefully we'll be able to do that for you as well. So again, just super excited for this and this kind of, joint journey that we're on. And we want y'all to come along for the ride, because we're gonna have some fun. I'm gonna, if you want another millennial mom, or, bring your glass, bring your wine, bring your red cup. And let's have some real conversations, and let's have a good time. So thank you, Ladybug.
Period. Oh, you can't definitely put my nickname. You gotta call me the Y2K.
Well, she's Ladybug, but for this point, yes, you're right. So, you can always be Ladybug.
I know.
But yes, but so For the Millennial Mom, I'm signing off. So thank you to my beautiful Y2K, and we will see you all next week.
Bye.